Something. It's like a podcast, but it's a vodcast, so you can listen and watch. It's like news talk or sports talk, but it's life talk, so we can walk the road together. On today's show, Jeannie Cunnion, author and blogger, joins us to chat about freedom. Because have any of y'all ever felt pressures to perform or even to be perfect, especially as it relates to parenting?
God never called me to be enough for my husband or my kids or my church or my friends. He called me to be loved by Him and to be a vessel of that love. And so I think
Jeannie's got a lot of encouragement on this topic, and we're excited to have her. So thanks for joining the conversation. Here we go. All right, so welcome to Say Something. Today, we have our very sweet friend, Jeannie Cunnion. Jeannie Cunnion is an author, blogger, and mom to 4 boys who range from toddler to teenager. She holds a master's degree in social work and is a frequent speaker at women's conferences and parenting events around the country. Her work has been featured on outlets such as The Today Show, Fox News, The 700 Club, and Focus on the Family. Find Jeannie at jeanniecunnion.com. She's joining us from New York, although she's going to be in Dallas pretty soon in the next few weeks. I know, so we're super excited about that. And Jeannie is just a wealth of great, encouraging knowledge about finding freedom in your life. She wrote a book a few years ago called Parenting the Wholehearted Child, and I'm just going to say that if you are a fan of Focus on the Family, go and listen to Jeannie's chat with Jim Daly. It was one of the best, I think.
Yeah.
Next to Courtney's, of course.
Right. No, it really is.
right up there with you and Courtney.
Definitely you. And so anyway, luckily and thankfully, she mustered the courage to write another book. And this one's called Mom Set Free. And so thanks for joining us, and tell us a little bit about what made you want to write this book.
She wasn't bored. There was a baby in her lap.
So she has 4 boys.
Well, I know you didn't write it because you were bored and didn't have anything to do. And it really, honestly, it really was an act of obedience. It just in terms of, I kind of kidded after the first one that I was going to go back to being an adoption social worker, and I was really grateful for that opportunity to write that book and what God taught me through the writing of my first book, and what a wonderful experience it was. But I had no intention of writing a second one. And then as I had the privilege of meeting women around the country, as I would do parenting events or women's conferences, and just having these conversations with women who had read Parenting the Wholehearted Child and told me one of their favorite things about my first book was that there's this constant reminder woven into it that in order to parent with grace, we need to know God's grace for us.
Yeah.
That it's really important that we understand God's unconditional love for us as moms and our own sin and shortcoming and weakness if we want to be able to be a vessel of that love and a reflection of His heart to our kids. And so they all said, thank you so much for the reminder in that book, but now I need you to help me figure out how to do that, right? Because the point of that book wasn't to walk moms through that. It was really to talk about how do we give grace to our kids. And so there was this constant oh Lord, what are you inviting me into here? And then He really revealed to me that He was actually inviting me into that for me. And to be able to share that with other moms is amazing. But the last 2.5, 3 years, God has just had me on this own journey of discovering what it means to live in the freedom of Christ, a word that I was raised hearing, right? We always hear about freedom and freedom in Christ. We're very familiar with that expression if we're raised in a Christian home, but I never really understood what that meant. And so God was inviting me to understand, what does it mean to know the freedom for which I have set you free? And then what does that look like to have that overflow into your parenting? And so that's Mom Set Free. It's really about the grace of God, but it's also about the sovereignty of God. And that's a really big part of the book. And sovereignty obviously being a big word for just the greatness and the goodness and the faithfulness of our God who holds all things together. And so, so it's a lot about just knowing and remembering and trusting the sovereignty of God and the grace of God in our own lives, and letting that overflow into our parenting.
What I love about where Jeannie lives is that she's surrounded by people that are like, now wait, what? Because she's in the Northeast where it isn't the Bible Belt, and where she goes to talk about her first book, and where she was literally around moms that are like, this isn't normal. What you're saying and asking me to do for my parents. And then same here. Even though grace and accepting God's grace for ourselves may be culturally relevant here, maybe it's on a Hobby Lobby sign in our den, it's still hard for many of us to say. It's so much easier to dish out, maybe to conceptually understand, but really to stop for a moment and say, do I really, really parent that way? Do I really, really receive it for myself? And it's hard. Her book isn't really, and I've told her this, I'm like, it's not a light, like, oh, that's sweet, read quick. It's like it's an in-depth, like, heart check. I've had to read a couple of the chapters a couple times and sit with them. And I love that kind of book. So I'm grateful that you did it, even though you were not bored.
It's been good. It's been good.
Well,
it's been hard. Courtney knows. I've called her on many days and gone, I can't do this.
Well, maybe that's the whole essence, is that we can't do it. And so, like, this time of year, I know that what a great time of year for your book to come out, because of all times, there are some that are a little more intense than others. And the beginning of school, the beginning of a year, and I would say May is really stressful. April and May, anytime that the
I'm throwing the hat in. Okay.
Well, it's so funny because these issues of performance and acceptance are so prevalent right now, which is right where you're hitting. And so for the mom that may have bought into the message that our kids define our identity, and women in general, just to feel a little bit more free in the midst of this performance pressures.
Yeah, well, listen, I feel it too. I feel it every day. And I think you're right. This time of year is kind of the time of year we're like, all right, this is the year I'm going to be awesome, and my kids will be awesome, and we're going to get off to a strong start, and we're going to be so awesome. And this is the year that I'm going to kill it. I'm just going to kill motherhood this year. And that's kind of a thing that happens at this time of year. I used to feel that way, but I'm coming off of a summer. Let me start with this. I'm coming off of a summer where we had committed to taking my kids through the book of Romans using the She Reads Truth kids study. So She Reads Truth put out this great kids study called, it's the book of Romans for kids. And I thought, oh my gosh, these are like short, but really help you explore the book of Romans, which can be complicated, especially for kids. And it's only 30 days, so we've got like 3 months. We're going to kill this, right? We're going to just knock out Romans, and then who knows, maybe move on to like Revelation, right? Okay. So I just want you to know that we're on day 8 of that study. Day 8, and my kids go back to school in a week. So I'm really clear on having impossible standards and unrealistic expectations, and then feeling really bad when we don't meet those. So it's a time of year where the expectations are high, and I think it's an overused expression, but I think it's really important, which is we have to give ourselves some grace here and set up a home. I like to talk about this with the kids, which is a home of confession, not perfection. And just creating a home where the kids feel free to take off their masks and let down their guards, because the second they walk out our door, they're just bombarded with messages like we are as moms, that you have to get it all right, and that your lovability and your acceptance is totally riding on your performance, whether it's on the football field or on the dance stage or in your academics. And so there's just this unbearable pressure that our kids are facing. I know you guys know it as well, or if not better than I do, right? That we've never seen a generation of teenagers who are more stressed than the ones we have now. And it's primarily because of the pressure they're feeling. And research is really clear that most of the pressure comes from us as their parents. And so because we have all these impossible standards for ourselves, we put those on our kids, and most times we don't even mean to, right? Like, I don't mean to put these impossible standards on my kids, but it happens because I'm living out of that reality too. And so I think it's really important for us as moms to just keep some realistic expectations of ourselves, that God didn't call us to be God for our kids. He called us to point them to God. And so as we start the year, I think for me, a visual is we start this year with clenched fists. Like, we're just trying so hard to control things and get things right, and we have these clenched fists. And God's invitation to us as parents is to unclench those fists, to receive his grace so that we can give that grace, and to create homes where our kids can be real about what they're going through and what they're struggling with. So I don't know if those are practical tips, but I really think it starts with kind of a mindset and a heart shift, because we can implement all of these things, but if our mind doesn't know the truth and our heart isn't settled in grace, we're just kind of going through the motions, and our kids can see right through that. They're good like that.
Jeannie, I love that. I love it. I just got off the phone on the way here. I was talking to one of my friends from Atlanta, and she said they had a 2-hour middle school meeting last night with parents, and thought she was going to walk away with a list of all the things she needed to do or she wasn't doing with her middle school, and sheets and homework and forms. And she said the whole meeting was centered around your kids' confidence and how fragile they are in middle school. And that she said, can you leave it up to us to teach them what we need to teach them, and you have to be their safe place, because they're literally getting beat up as soon as they leave your doors, and when they need to come home, they need to be safe in your arms. And I thought, how incredible of a school to recognize how fragile they are, and that isn't that amazing? And so I thought, just encouraging the parents that like they need you to build them up as soon as they come back home. And so I think there is pressure for us to go, oh, are we teaching them enough? Are we pointing out, oh, you need more self-control, or you need this or that, when they need us to be their cheerleaders?
And I think it goes back to the whole premise of your book, The Mom Set Free, because I think in order to be able to do that, you've really got to be confident in who you are.
Jeannie, I know her and I are doing an event coming up soon in Nashville, and I know that you're going to touch on this when you're here and us with Dallas, but what are some of the things that you want to set moms free from? What are those big words?
Everything.
Not to be light, but everything.
I know that's like a bold thing to say, but that's what the gospel does. So this isn't me setting anybody free, right? This book is so woven with the good news of the gospel. At least that's my hope. That was my prayer in writing it. I mean, there's nothing that the gospel, that Jesus Christ can't set us free from. Whether it's the sting of our shame, or the power of sin in our life, or the grip of guilt, or the weight of our worries, or and our fears. Like, there is, wherever you are as a mom, and whatever unique thing you're wrestling with, whether it's 1 or 5, the gospel can breathe freedom into that. The same power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead is available to you as a mom in your everyday life, in whatever struggle you face as a parent. We, in the book, look at worry and shame and fear and comparison with other moms, how we compare ourselves to everybody else's outsides. We compare, their manicured outsides to our messy insides. We look at what does it mean to be a new creation in Christ as a mom, and how does that identity really empower us to take a different approach with our kids. I talk about shame, my own journey with shame, and the battles I have faced and the scars I have taken from those, and how when I first became a mom, I had so much shame over some things in my past, and how that really overflowed into my parenting.
Wow.
And how God has radically set me free from that shame, and helped me understand that what he did for me on the cross wasn't just for my sin and shortcoming, but was for my shame too, that he bore the pain of that too, and has set me free from that, and has empowered me to parent differently. Not that I don't still mistakenly weave shame into my parenting, because I'm still imperfect and very human and mess up every day. But there has been a radical transformation in my life and my home, in terms of looking at my kids through this kind of how could you, who would do something like that attitude, to of course you would, me too. I'm fallen too, I struggle too, I need Jesus too. And so there's so much that the gospel sets us free from, and that's why the book went from being 125 pages, which is what it originally was, to now about 260. Because I love my editor, who was willing to say, I know you want to keep this on the shorter side so that it feels like moms can just pick it up and it's super accessible, but I think we can still do that by allowing you to dig deeper, because I think you have a lot more you want to say, and God wants to dig through you, and so I want to encourage you to let that out. It's not, Cordis, and we and I talked about this, it's not just the free from, it's the free to, right? So we're set free from all this stuff, but we're also set free. We're set free to go, at the end of the day, we're set free to love like Jesus loved. We're set free to love other moms who we see as competition. We're set free to love them and cheer them on and embrace them. And we're set free to love our kids the way Jesus does. And so there's this new freedom to love and give grace when we really let the grace of God wreck our own hearts. As you can tell, I'm really excited about it.
Yes, and I really hope you hit that one home, the set free to. Like, just nail that. Set free from is big, but the set free to is enormous.
So I think it opens up a whole new...
set free to parent in confidence, because we're all worried and wondering and feeling capable and not enough. And listen, I get all of that, and Jesus is our enough. But God wants us to parent in confidence in this calling that he's given us to do as moms, and the enemy loves to make us feel like any other mom could be doing this better. But grace gives us a confidence, not in us. The confidence shouldn't be in us and our abilities and our great ideas and our formulas, but there's this confidence in our God who is faithful. And by the way, our kids were his good idea to begin with, right? they belong to him, they're his, and we just have this privilege of pointing them back to him.
Yeah.
And I believe he wants us to parent in the confidence of that, right? And my hope is that moms will put down the book feeling much more confident in their role and kind of shedding this just a mom theme or working mom theme. No, you're a mom called by God to raise these kids to his glory, not yours. And that's it,
Which could sound heavy, but I think the biggest part of that is the loving, the set free to love. If you're loved, then it's easier to very confidently love the other. And it's funny that you bring up that shame thing just this morning, and this is to encourage y'all, because my kids are just a little bit ahead of yours. My oldest are in college, and so we just sent one to college just a week ago, and with all her friends, kind of telling her how it's supposed to be and what you're supposed to do and all this, the pressure was enormous on her, and it really was sucking the life out of her. And it was like, no, because you sit there and go, who made that up? Like, who made up supposed to, or the right way?
Right.
Because I was sort of like, that, who even made that up? If you want to come home, come home. If you want to stay, stay. And she called me yesterday and she said, I just want you to know that I'm doing this my way. Like, I'm doing it my way, like the way that I live life. And you know what? It's great. And she was so happy. And I thought about myself at her age, not so much. I mean, really not so much at all. And I was sitting there going, yeah, because she doesn't care if she's going to the party or not. And she's going to the same school that I went to. And I know what I was doing that first week of school. And I'm just saying, it wasn't a whole lot of classes. It was so much fun. I mean, and I thought, what is it about her? And you know what it is? Confidence in who she is.
Gosh, it's so good.
And I'm watching it play out, and I thought of this, just you talking about those shame things that you deal with of your own life. And let me tell you, when it is redeemed and gone. Like, you don't have to continue to relive it. And so I'm just encouraging you that confidence, your kids' confidence based on their identity and who the Lord, and just the Lord's love, just God loving them.
Yep.
I cannot tell you the freedom in these intense environments where most of us probably,
because I think we want to spend our energy, like, and that's why helicopter moms and lawnmower moms and all these things get such a bad rep, because we spend our energy blocking and smoothing and kind of getting ahead of God, trying to like think of every scenario that could possibly take our kid down, because we love them so much. When
it's all out of love.
It's all out of love.
It's all out of love.
We can spend more energy focused on getting them to know the love of God, and us getting shored up in our love of God, and it's like all that's coming their way. All that's coming their way.
Well, the crazy thing, when you're telling your kid about how loved they are, you get to hear it too.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I know I need to hear it.
I was reminded of this. Jeannie and I have been looking up our middle school pictures lately for an event we're doing, and I was going through yearbooks, and I was so embarrassed. My kids were looking up, and they were trying to find me in different yearbooks, and I pulled up a picture, and I think I was 7th or 8th grade, maybe 6th, and I had written on the top of everybody's pictures different names, like funny, sweet, whatever, and the word I wrote on top of my own picture was dork, as big as I could. Yes.
My gosh.
Isn't that so mean?
Yes.
And so I thought about that,
and we know that you weren't.
I'm not a
There
dork.
was no way.
But I thought, how many of us are parenting from that place? Like, do I so desperately not want Ella to be a dork? And am I desperately still trying to fit in and be noticed and all that? And then am I reacting out of worry and a parent that way? And that is just like a sad reality, but true. And can I take that to the Lord and go, what happened in middle school or high school or in my 30s that I'm still reeling from? And can I let you fill that place and not parent in a way that's fearing that she is going to get hurt? She is going to be left out. So is Larson. And can I just not parent in a way that's worrying about that versus let him fill her up?
Well, and I mean, Court, touching on what you just said, right? I mean, and it's so hard as parents, because you said we love them so much, and yet, Jesus himself said, in this world you will face trial, you will face sorrow, but I will be with you through that and with you in that, and there's nothing you face that I haven't faced before, and that's what I think the beauty of it is, and we have to remember as parents, like, this is part of him growing them, right? Like, suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and that's what we want. We want God, and it brings God pleasure to produce character in his kids. And a lot of times these things that we try so hard to protect our kids from are the very things that God is using them to grow them in his likeness. And it's just so hard as parents, because A, we wish we had the power to control it otherwise, and B, you love them so much it hurts to see them suffer. And so as a mom, I constantly have to be like, Lord, just help me stay out of the way when you're doing something great that I'm trying to mess up in their lives, just because I love them so much. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch them go through that. And yet, if we know that God is who he is, which is, it's easier to trust him in that.
Hey, Jeannie, I might catch you off guard on this one, but you can do it. Okay, so you know how when you go on Facebook or whatever and you see like one quote and it's like, and then the next feed you see the exact opposite of the quote? Like, here's one that's like, you are enough. Moms, you are enough. And then the next one is like, you are not enough. God is enough. And so they all like contradict. Where are you on the stance of enoughness? Are we enough?
Oh, it's so hard because it's how you frame that statement. But at the end of the day, I land on, for me personally, that if I ever even had a shot at being enough, then Jesus Christ died for nothing. So that's where I land on it. Knowing God's heart for me and his grace, and frees me to say, I cannot be all that you need me to be. Brennan, Cal, Owen, and Finn, by the way, husband, Mike, right? Like, God never called me to be enough for my husband or my kids or my church or my friends. He called me to be loved by him and to be a vessel of that love. And so I think as we have this innate longing to be enough. We have this, we just won't go into all that theology. Let's keep it here. But I land on Jesus is my enough, and he shows up in my weak places. And I'm going to let my kids down. In fact, I do every day. And there's a freedom to say, hey, I'm really sorry I got that wrong. Because as hard as I'm going to try to be a perfect example for you, and as hard as I'm going to try to make great decisions for you, I am going to let you down, and there is only one who is not. And so it's just a daily opportunity for me to take their eyes off of me, and to take the pressure off of me, and to put their eyes on God, and to put that pressure on God, because he is the only one who can handle that pressure. And so it's been very freeing for me to go, hey, I'm not enough, and I am so okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that. All those burdens and all that weight that I can almost feel it on my shoulders is gone. Now that Kate goes back to what you said, and now I can parent in confidence of who God is for me and how God shows up through me. And so,
I felt the weight of that lately with around friends and family with the significant grief, and wanting to be Jesus for them, like wanting to fix it so deeply, and realizing like literally there's no one that can help them through this other than Jesus.
I know.
And so desperately wanting to do anything possible, and going, there's literally not a shape piece that will fill their void other than the Lord. And being so willing, like, I'll come, I'll lay with you, there's no one that else can do it. And that's a sobering piece, but almost comforting, like you said, to finally realizing that that's the same true as of us. Yeah. That we're trying to put other people in our kids' lives or in our spouses. That it is a freedom and you
moment. You get to be a conduit of that love, Court. You know, and you get to reflect his heart to them and carry his love and his mercy to them. You know, and that's what there is a commissioning, and that's what it is. But it's certainly not to be all that Jesus Christ came to be for us. You know, there's a beautiful freedom in that, because he wants our eyes on him, you know. So
well, and I think there's that one has so many legs on it, because there's because the depth of intimacy is significant with that. I mean, it's like, this is for you. You, by the way, I've done this. I've given you these limitations for you, so that it is by me, through me, and in me. And then it is. It's like, left to myself, I can't even love myself, let alone genuinely love those around me. But man, he does. And then that intimacy that comes with allowing just allowing that to occur is so profound and significant. What's your favorite thing that you've learned through all this?
My favorite thing that I've learned through all this, I think the favorite would be, I think the thing that's transformed me the most is really remembering that my kids belong to him.
Yeah.
And that sounds so simple, but I feel like he's constantly reminding me that they're his kids first. Even my prayers have changed sometimes, where I used to say, my boys are our sons, and starting to pray, your sons, Lord. They're your boys, they're your sons, and you've just entrusted them to me to point them back to you. When I get all caught up in trying to make, we have so many big decisions to make for our kids, right? About their education, about their friendships, about if they're facing anxiety, or, when my son went through a really, was a child being incredibly cruel to him. How do you help our kids navigate all these very real and hard and painful things, and wanting to have all the right answers for them as they navigate all this stuff, and just remembering constantly that my boys are his sons first, and he knows what he's doing, and he's a good God, and just trying to trust him, to show up and be used as a vessel, but to remember they belong to him first, and he's trustworthy. So that's been my favorite thing, because it's allowing me to regain, I think, some of the joy that was lost in my parenting, because I was just trying so hard to get it right and to control so much stuff. And I want my kids to see a mom who has joy, because if you are living in Christ, there is joy in Jesus. And so I really want them to see a joy that really comes from being able to, at the end of the day, trust them to him. So
Okay, so our friend Brenda, who plays with us, she likes to have a charge at the end. I think it's because Dr. Evans is her pastor, and he leaves it with a charge.
A charge.
Meaning like, go therefore. And what would be your charge to the women that are viewing today, or the parents in general?
I think my charge is live free, give grace. Live in the freedom of Christ. Allow the freedom of Christ to set you free. Get to know him, and the only way to do that is through his word and in community. But get to know this freedom for which he set you free, and you will be empowered to give grace to your kids. The grace that you're trying so hard to give to them, the grace I was trying so hard to give to them, but kept not being able to give it to them because I didn't know it for myself. So my charge is live free, live in the freedom of Christ, and see that transform your parenting, see that transform your ability to give your kids grace.
All right. It's a good word, my friend.
And y'all come play with us in Dallas.
Yes, we can't wait to see you in Dallas.
I just so wish I was in the back seat of that car, right in the middle.
We're hugging you.
I know it.
Stroking your hair.
And y'all get the Bible study too. I think that'll be a great way after the book. People can get a group, and I think that's one of the things where these things come to life is when you get a group of friends and people can talk really about how.
Oh my
these
gosh.
are deep topics. This is like.
Oh, if we were meant to be on this planet by ourselves, we would have been. It's the together that's so great.
Court, you're so good about that. You're so good about reminding me about the significance of community and friendship. And Courtney and I were texting the other day, and she knew I was down, and what'd you say? You said friends don't let friends cry alone.
I was like, are you crying by yourself? She was crying in a bookstore. I was like, we are not going to cry alone.
By myself. And she was like, answer the phone. Friends don't let friends cry alone. Answer the phone. And God just made us to build each other up and spur each other on. And so I just love you both so much, and I cannot wait to see you in Dallas in a few weeks. It's going to be really great.
All right.
Yay.
Well, we hope you have a great day. Thanks, Jeannie, for spending a few minutes with us. And
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. And we hope that everybody will go out. Jeannie just said a lot of great things that were encouraging to us. And so may it fill your cup, and you go say something kind and encouraging to the person walking alongside. Thanks a bunch.
Awesome.
Bye.